few years ago, Atari did notice a resurgence and renewed interest in the areas of classic gaming and decided to cash in on their back catalog as well as their name by releasing the original Flashback console. That console, however, resembled more closely the Atari 7800 system and was based on the Nintendo on a chip design, which didn't perfectly emulate the original Atari 2600 games. And though the original 7800 system sold well enough, it did definitely have its flaws. Critics pointed out some of the problems, and Atari listened. They went back to the drawing board and introduced the Atari Flashback II. Now the first thing you'll notice about the Flashback II as we open up the package is that either I'm built like Andre the Giant or the console is much, much smaller. Much to the delight of fans of the original classic Atari 2600 console, this new Atari Flashback II retained much of the look of the original system. From the black plastic to the wood grain finish, quite popular in the 70s. This system more closely resembled what they loved. Differences, however, are pretty obvious. Instead of your toggle switches for various functions, you now have easy push buttons. The back of the console still retains the joystick ports, the color black and white switch, as well as a port for the 9-volt DC adapter, AC adapter. Obviously much smaller and lighter. Let's talk about some of the other modern improvements to the system. First and foremost, instead of the horrible RF output so popular with consoles of the day, we now have composite video output, as well as standard RCA audio output. Now, it is a mono output, of course. The one thing that I did pick up to supplement this system, which you can get at any electronics supply shop, is a audio Y adapter. When plugged into the audio patch cord, you can now split your mono output sound to a, well, not stereo, but a somewhat simulated stereo sound, dual mono output. I prefer this myself, though it's hardly necessary. And also much smaller than the original is the DC adapter. I estimate it's about half the size of the original. About the only thing that's the exact same size is the controllers, which pretty much are identical to your original standard Atari joystick controllers, so familiar with classic gamers worldwide. As a matter of fact, these are so close to the original controllers, though I do think they're a little bit lighter, that you can actually use these with the original Atari 2600 console. As well, of course, they're interchangeable, so you could take your original classic Atari joysticks and plug them into the Flashback II system. Now, after all is said and done, you may be thinking to yourself, Rob, there seems to be one small detail missing from this Atari 2600 console. And you're right, there is no cartridge port. Don't worry though. The beauty of this little system right here is there are 40 Atari classic games built right into the system, ready for you to play. Now, I will mention, though, some very talented and skilled modders are actually capable of basically replicating a standard Atari 2600 cartridge port. You can find that information if you Google it online. They actually create a hole right around this area here, and apparently inside the electronics of this board are actually designed for you to go ahead and add a traditional Atari 2600 cartridge port. That is way beyond my technical skills, but for those of you who, have some skills in the area of electronics, you can definitely find the information online to add a cartridge port, and from my understanding, pretty much play the majority of all your standard Atari 2600 cartridges. So that's a great option there if you have the skills. If, like me, however, you're unskilled or don't have the time or patience to add a standard cartridge port to the system, you're still good to go with over 40 built-in games. Now, they advertise 40, but as I just mentioned, over 40 would be more accurate, because in fact there's a little Easter egg that will allow you to unlock even more games in this system. And you can enjoy classics from Pong, Asteroids, and Centipede to Activision classics like Pitfall and River Raid. And as I hope to do in this and future videos, let's round it off here at the end with a play test of the actual system. I've turned it on, hooked everything up. There's the menu you presented with the Flashback II menu. Different categories: adventure, arcade, space station, skill and action zone. Let's try the skill and action zone. And what do we got here? Oh, good old combat. Let's try Pitfall. That's always a good one. We'll begin. And there we go. David Crane's classic. And start off. Oh, yeah, that's a good way to start. Remember, folks, I am playing with one hand here. Okay. It's been a long time. Oh boy. There we go. Ah, there we go. It's been a while. Ah, dead end. Alright, well, let's end this one. Hit the reset switch. Maybe try... Oh, no, looks like I have to power off. That just resets the game. And we'll try one more title, just to see. Oh, arcade favorites. Let's try some... let's see here. Let's try some Millipede. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, Millipede. Alrighty, start it, select, and there we go. That's definitely your Atari graphics in play here, complete with the ambiance of Atari sound. Oh, there we go. Anyway, folks, I think that should just about wrap things up. Thanks for having another look at my videos, and got a couple more coming. Stay tuned.